So here comes Baitullah Masood.
Baitullah Masood didn't come at night.
No. Okay.
No. In the morning, Waliur Rahman came.
Right.
He said, Zachizu Mama, let's go. So we sat in his Land Cruiser. He put me in the front seat with him. Now I am VIP, so I get front seat. My gunman and driver were made to sit in the back seat. And two Uzbek guards sitting on either side of them
Really?
in the back seat.
So how you make out?
They were very close friends. These Sadaroga people were very close friends
With the Uzbeks.
Tahir Yuldashev.
Okay. Who was living in Pata area then?
Tahir Yuldashev was living somewhere near.
Yeah.
I never saw him,
Right.
but he was there. And they said that he was living in the house where I was kept.
Okay.
But because we were coming, he was told to move away somewhere else.
Right.
So Tahir Yuldashev moved out. But two Uzbek guards sat in the car. And Waliur Rahman said that Amir Sahib couldn't come at night and that we will go to him because he wants to see you before you go.
Okay.
So we went to Makeen. Makeen is a small town to which Baitullah Masood belonged. He was from Makeen in South Waziristan. So Makeen was about 40 kilometers away. We drove on a country road, but all right road. Land Cruiser was doing well. We landed up in Makeen and we went to one house. The guard opened the gate. They looked at each other with their eyes. They probably signaled to each other. The gate was closed. We moved from there, went to a second house. Same activity. We moved from there, third house, and they said, get in. So we got into the house and a simple village structure. We were made to sit in a room on the floor. Now here on the floor there were mattresses. So we sat on the mattresses and waited, and then Baitullah came. Baitullah came and apologized for being late.
Describe Baitullah.
Baitullah, height 5 feet 2.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Roly-poly,
Right.
very hairy,
Right.
hands covered with hair, almost bear-like.
Right.
And I could detect a slight effeminate behavior in him. Yes, this is very strange.
You think that he was of a leader material?
He didn't look like leader material to me, but they had propped him up and
Who?
his own Taliban. Probably on the at insistence of Zawahiri or somebody.
You think so?
I think so.
Right.
And then he...
So here we are talking about Ayman al-Zawahiri,
Yes,
and here we are talking about Indian Raw.
yes.
And when you talk about Indian Raw,
Yes.
it means NDS was also involved.
Completely. Completely.
If that is the reason,
Yes.
because during that your captivity, and I was holding the fort in Kabul,
Yes.
the vibes I was hearing was there was a glee and there was a vicarious smile
Among the Afghans?
among the Afghans.
Yeah.
Now I can link up.
I am not surprised.
And I could also see the glee on the faces of the Indian diplomats, including their ambassador.
It was their advice that they should grab a high-value target to be able to push their agenda forward.
So here, when you put
Join
the
the dots.
jigsaw puzzles
Yes.
together,
Yes. Yes.
so you can come up
Indeed.
that how it was all made out. Because I have to be the devil's advocate, then your kidnapping at Ali Masjid means that people sitting in Kabul, they wanted to perhaps give a signal to Islamabad
Yes.
that what can we do? So you were kidnapped. But I don't know, when you were released, Was there a quid pro quo?
That is the part that I don't know till today, nearly 14 years after the event. I don't know. I was told by some that there was a quid pro quo. I don't know whether those 12 people were released and handed over to them, because Waliur Rahman just came one morning and said, let's go, and we went to Makeen and we said goodbye to Baitullah, and we drove on from there to Miran Shah on a beautiful road which the government of Pakistan, the Pakistan Army had built for them. We reached Miran Shah, and we reached a fortress-like building, and stood at the gate, and there was a lot of discussion between Waliur Rahman and people at the gate. And they eventually let us in. It was like a small village inside the walls. The walls are about 20 feet high.
Right, yes.
And we were taken to a room. There was a bed, a double bed in there, and there was mattresses on the other 3 sides of the room. And we were told to sit there and be
Large room.
Large room, large
Right.
the room as big as this.
Right.
We were told to sit there, and didn't know whose house it was, didn't know what was going on. But Waliur Rahman just sat there, and Waliur Rahman pulled out his pistol. He was carrying a German Luger pistol.
Right.
Remember Luger?
Yes.
Okay. He was carrying a German Luger, and I said to him, oh, I really like the Luger. Could I have a look at it? So without thinking, he gave me his loaded Luger in my hand. Okay, now Waliur Rahman is sitting in front of me, and we had some competitions of firing the AK-47, and I got better scores than their Taliban. So when he gave
You did
me,
have that?
yes,
All right. Okay.
yes, three times we had a competition.
That requires another program, I think.
Oh. So he gave me the Luger, and then suddenly he went into a state of panic. No.
What is your...
Oh, what have I done? How do I take my Luger back? So I said, Maulavi Sahib, I put the pistol on my hands like
Right.
this. And I said,
Yeah.
don't worry.
Yeah. I've given up these tricks
I
long
don't,
ago.
I don't do this stuff anymore. You do it, but
Yeah.
I don't.
Right.
Here, you can take your gun back, but a nice gun.
Right.
So he felt a little silly
Right.
and took his gun back and put it in his holster. And he sat there, and he was a little nervous and fidgety. And at 4 o'clock in the evening, he said, okay, I'm going.
Right.
Now you are safe here.
Safe here?
Huh?
Which place was this?
This is Miran Shah.
Miransha. Okay.
Miran Shah. Now you are safe here. From here, your journey will be continued by somebody else.
Which means you are released?
No, I'm not released.
No. Okay.
They handed me over to somebody else whose face I had not seen
Right.
as yet. And Waliur Rahman left, because while we were sitting
So
there,
it is you, your driver, and your guard.
guard,
Yeah.
and Waliur Rahman used to go out for half an hour, come back, go out for 20 minutes, come back. So he was holding some negotiations outside, not in front of me.
Right.
And when he probably collected a packet of money, or I don't know. I don't know. Nobody said
Didn't
anything.
government of Pakistan tell you that how much they paid for your release?
When Waliur Rahman told me to save 40 crores, which I said to the foreign secretary, when I put the phone, gave him back the phone, I said, nobody is going to give you 40 crores. He says, I know. But what's the harm in asking? I asked for 40 crores. 4 crores they will give, won't they, for you?
Oh.
Yes. So he says, we start negotiating like this from high, then we come down.
It's like, asking for a tank's license and getting pistols,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. So, Waliur Rahman left. He didn't even say goodbye. He just said, okay, I'm going. And off he went. That was his goodbye.
Right.
He was not my friend and I didn't like him. He was too snobbish. Very well dressed, Maulavi.
Right.
Clean, always smelling nice, very clean clothes, very nice bata or service chappals on his feet, clean hands, everything. He was very clean. And he left. And then a tall, bearded man walked into the room and said that we will be with them until tomorrow morning and that we can relax and have a bath. There was a bathroom with a flush system and there was a shower.
In Miran Shah.
In Miran Shah, inside this fortress.
Miran Shah means it's a city,
Miran Shah is a city.
right?
Yes.
And you are in the city.
Yes, I'm in the city now. And we sat. He gave us this introduction and then he went off. So we just sat there and did more of nothing, which we had been doing for the past 96 days and waiting for night time. Night time came and we were told, come outside. Dinner is ready. So we went out and there were about the size of this carpet, 4 squares with little footpaths running like Shalimar Bagh, green grass in all these 4 patches. And on one of them they had laid a white chadar and we sat there and more chicken came and more palau came and we had that.
Proper feast.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, delicious too. And we had kava after that and said, you must be tired. I said, yes, very tired. And so we went to the same room.
Right.
I slept on the bed and these 2 Johnnies slept on those thick mattresses.
Right.
And went to sleep. And this man told us that you better be up ready at 8.
8 o'clock in the morning.
I said, what about Fajr? He said, of course Fajr, but after Fajr, if you are planning to sleep, then don't sleep because
After 8.
after 8,
Right.
8 we are moving.
Right.
I said, okay. I'm still prisoner, so all I could say was okay. In the
And
morning,
it's the 97th day.
97th day in the morning, he came and he brought a Toyota Corolla, a state car. He was a big man. He sat in the front seat with his driver and the 3 of us were shoved into the back seat. And we drove and we drove and we drove and we entered the army camp.
In Miran Shah.
Yes, there is an army camp there.
So,
Miran Shah has a runway also.
I know, but it is how many kilometers?
From where we were,
Yeah?
3, 4
Yes?
max, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Not very far,
Under the nose.
of course.
Yes, okay.
Inside the camp, apparently people knew this fellow.
Right.
So he drove and he was saying, salam, salam.
So he was given the entry.
Oh yes, he was allowed to flow free. They knew that
All right,
he's bringing somebody.
So he was the politically correct fellow.
Yes, yes.
Right.
He took us there to a room and there was a gentleman who introduced himself as a brigadier and said that he had come to pick me up from Islamabad. I said, okay. So he said, "Aap chai piyenge?" I said, "We've just had breakfast." So he says, "Chai pee lein, phir chalte hain." We had tea and biscuits and then sat in his Prado and went to the airport.
Helipad.
It was a full airport.
Right.
A helicopter standing on the runway, Mi-17. And we sat in it and We were flown from there, and I didn't know the terrain from the aircraft. So we flew for some time, and then I recognized Peshawar. I said, "Oh, what are we doing in Peshawar?"
Right.
So he said, "Oh, sir, we have to. Don't you belong to Peshawar?" I said, "Doesn't matter where I belong to, but I don't live here. I live in Pindi. So will you please take me to Pindi?" Now I'm in my full robe.
Right.
Okay. So he says, "Sir, just a few minutes in Peshawar." So we got down at Peshawar airport, sat in two Prados, and we came to a very nice house in Shami Road in Peshawar. Very nice house. We went there, 5-star luxury. And they said, "Sir, your room is upstairs." He escorted me to my room. And there,
And you are with a full beard?
yes, and they presented me with a brand new white shalwar kameez
Okay. Of your size?
of my size.
How would they know that?
I don't know, probably large or extra large they bought from the bazaar.
Okay.
वो एक मेक है कैंडी CANDY वो शलवार कमीज मुझे दी. It was nice. I still have it though,
Right.
as a memento of days gone by.
Right.
They gave me a salwar kameez, and I went into the bathroom and I had a very long hot bath to get all the
But
grime.
it was already hot weather.
It was hot weather, but hot water takes the
Right.
takes the crap off much easier. Sorry. So I had a bath, I dressed up. I said, "Can I have a phone, please?"
Yeah.
Now I saw that the room was equipped with a phone,
Right.
but the wire was there and the phone had, whose legs marks were still visible on the table, but there was no phone. So I said, "Why have you taken the phone away?"
Right.
So he just smiled at me, and there was a TV on, and the TV little strip, the running strip said, "अफगानिस्तान में पाकिस्तान के सफीर तारिक अजीजुद्दीन आज रिहा कर दिए गए."
Wow.
He's saying, it's saying on the bloody strip. So I saw that, and I said,
And I saw that.
yeah, okay,
And
you saw it.
I called your home,
Okay.
and your wife, she said, "I don't know, but I'm also looking at the TV."
At the strip, yes.
Yeah.
So I said, "Give me a phone." He said, "Sir, आपने किसको फोन करना है?" मैंने कहा, "यार, नरेंद्र मोदी को फोन करना है." "किसको फोन करना है?" "मैं इधर 97 दिन के बाद पहुंचा हूं, तो किसको फोन करूंगा?" "मैं अपने घर में अपनी बीवी को फोन करना चाहता हूं." क्लियर? तो कहता, "अच्छा सर, वो मुझे नंबर बता दे." He's not giving me his mobile. He's saying number bata de. So he dialed the number, and he listened in, and when she picked up the phone, then he handed over the phone without saying hello.
He was careful.
Extremely. And he said, before giving the phone to me, he said, "Sir, आपने नहीं बताना कि आप कहाँ हैं, आपने नहीं बताया ना कि आप रिलीज हो गए हैं, आप सिर्फ उनके साथ बात कर लें." मैं कहा, "यार, टीवी पे आ रहा है कि मैं रिलीज हो गया हूँ, मैंने अपनी बीवी को नहीं बताना है, वो टीवी नहीं देख रही है."
But you said it in Dari.
Of course I said it in Dari, he didn't understand. So I just said few words. I said, "I'm out and I should be hopefully home by the evening."
I could hear the comfort in her voice, the solace in her voice.
Okay, once I had spoken to her. No?
Yeah, I mean, and believe you me, I don't know about our bhabhi, your wife, but the kind of solace I got was, like as if you have been relieved of tons of weight
Oh yes,
on your chest.
oh yes, it was like that.
It was like
It was like a truck standing on my
because
chest.
every day, almost, or every second day when I used to call her, and she would ask me any news, and I was drawing a blank. So you can imagine, you were in the captivity,
Yeah.
you are incommunicado. But for me, asking about their welfare was it was such kind of a trying period I have never experienced in my life.
It was. It was.
It was so trying a period, and then also carrying the guilt that why I could not tell her when he was kidnapped. Reason was I was drawing a blank whether he's kidnapped or not, and I could not tell her before I could have spoken to the Foreign Office. So you can imagine my predicament, the trial I had went through as your deputy. So this is that's why tonight was the reason that we together decided to have your part of the story. And also, you want to say something, Riaz?
Yeah, Sir Asif was your deputy in Kabul. So
Yes.
he, in your absence, the situation he had to face, he was just sharing that. I just want to, at the end, I want to ask one big question, but again, a short answer for our viewers. First, after 8 years, 9 years, today, you have just you must have given a
No, Bukhari, it's more than that.
14?
yeah, 14 years, 14 years now. So why you were kidnapped first? And second aspect is, under what arrangements you got your freedom? Have you got any answer to these two questions now?
Okay. Why I was kidnapped? I can only tell you what the kidnappers told me.
That we have heard.
Huh? And because they were on the other side, so our own side claimed that we don't know.
Yeah.
They can tell you. What was the second question?
Under what deal you got your freedom?
Okay.
Now you have met so many.
Now Baitullah told me that he had asked for 12 names.
Yeah.
Waliur Rahman told me that tell them give us 40 crores and we will release him. These were the two positions that they had taken. After I was released and came home, on the orders of President Musharraf, I was told to go and give a detailed debriefing, which I did. And at that point, I was at some silly question. I was a little annoyed and I showed my annoyance. And they said, "Sir, इतना तो लिहाज करें, हमने इतने बड़ी रकम आपके लिए दी है तो okay." So I don't know what was the rakam, but they said इतनी बड़ी रकम and तो आप हमारे पर ही चढ़ाई कर रहे हैं आते साथ ही. So I said, नहीं यार चढ़ाई नहीं कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन सवाल पूछने का भी कोई सलीका और तरीका होता है ना यार. So that's how it went. I got home. I went for a debriefing session. It took 6 hours. 3 heavyweights and 1 extra heavyweight sitting there.
Super heavyweight.
Super is bigger than extra.
Right.
So someone was your, I think, course mate or class fellow as well?
Yeah, he was the almighty.
Yeah.
Almighty weight.
So he was also present there?
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
Because he had by then gone further up and got promoted. So debriefing lasted 6 hours. They asked me questions and they asked me questions and more questions. And I said, are you asking me because you don't know? He said, हाँ ना सर, हम तो वहाँ नहीं जा सकते. आप होके आए हैं, आप उनके साथ मिल के आए हैं. हमने तो मुलाकात भी नहीं की है बैतुल्ला के साथ, आप 2 मुलाकातें करके आए हैं. So it was a strange moment, but I told them that I have just debriefed the president because the president was keeping an eye on my movements, and they told him that president said I would like to go and receive him when he comes. Okay? An ambassador is ambassador of the president. So president said he wanted to receive me. They said, नहीं sir, वो तो पेशावर रहते हैं. Oh, अच्छा. So Musharraf backed off. When I arrived, he said, यार तुम ऑफिस कैसे जाते आते हो जब तुम पेशावर में रहते हो? I said, no sir, मैं पेशावर नहीं रहता हूँ, मैं तो इधर आपसे 15 मिनट दूर बैरियर टाउन में रहता हूँ. So, अच्छा, इन्होंने मुझे कहा था तुम पेशावर में रहते हो. So that was foul. Then we sat there 3 hours. General Musharraf said, Tariq, just speak your heart out. And if you don't mind, I will interrupt you if I have a question to ask. I'm not going to leave all the questions till the end. I will ask you in between. I said, fine, sir. So from first moment till the last moment, tell me. And I told him. And he said, have you debriefed these guys? I said, no, sir. I offered, but they said I should go and rest. Picked up the phone, blasted somebody on the phone, and they will call you. And they called me, and I went the next morning. Came back, and life became normal again, except that my sons had removed my beard. So I was back to this shape, and life became normal. The foreign minister, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, he was foreign minister then also, he told me that I should take a month off to re-energize myself. Yes, sir. On the 9th day, he told me, मैं काबुल जा रहा हूँ, आप भी चलें. आप मेरे से पहले चलें और मैं आज जा रहा हूँ उधर, आपको रिसीव करूँगा. And by then, Sadiq was really keen on...
No, but Sadiq came at the fag end in the end of December.
Right, sorry, Sadiq came.
You-
I came with the
You
foreign
came
minister.
around June or so.
Yes. I came in June. I
Yeah.
came in June.
Yeah.
That was FM's...
Because I was there. I
So,
was
sir,
short affairs.
as I know, the President Musharraf also advised you to write a book
Yes,
on this episode.
yes.
Did you try?
There are certain things which are part of the event, of the continuous event, which, if I don't write, makes it a cheap novel, somebody's imagination. But if I put those things in, it hurts some interests. And I'm not powerful at all. I can't handle it. So I then took this decision that if I can't write that, then why write?
But if I may ask you,
Yes.
you were captive to the Taliban the TTP people.
Yes.
And TTP is again resurging in the country.
Yes.
Resurging in a manner that there are talks of having a rapprochement with the TTP.
Yes.
What is your take on that? Because you think that TTP suits our way of life?
Not at all. And TTP have committed grievous crimes against the people of Pakistan. If we mention 80,000 dead, out of which about 20,000 are military personnel, then who is going to answer for those 80,000 dead? Is it so easy to say that, okay, we will agree? They tell you to your face that they don't accept the Constitution of Pakistan. They tell you that they don't accept the Pakistan way of life and that they want to have full freedom to run around in their pickups in all the big cities and dispense instant justice.
And can you forget APS episode?
Can you forget APS? I'm sorry, I slipped that.
135 children.
Children.
Those images,
Innocent children.
Yes.
those children,
cannot.
they were piled up
Can't forget.
like animals.
Anybody who picks up weapons against my country, anybody against my country, is the enemy of my country. And he should be dealt with like an enemy is dealt with. You pick up a gun back and shoot him. You can't tell us to forget everything that they did. Punishment for kidnap in Pakistan is death by hanging. Are they going to? Or am I just going to sit and watch while they are having a love talk with these chaps? I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I am in no position to criticize the state functionaries because they are in charge. And the wheel of power keeps rolling. People come and people go, and new people come to power, and new people come to power. And when I was kidnapped, there were other people in power. Today, there are other people. In between, there were other people. So I cannot say to them, I cannot dictate to them what they should do. The least they could do is to consult with me among the many other people that they can consult. But there is no consultation, and therefore I sit quietly, and in my last years of life, I would just like to enjoy them.
Tanvir, you wanted to say something.
I think we've been talking about the whole episode and especially Taliban. My question is that you have seen the Taliban of 2008 and now we are talking about the present Taliban also. Number one question is, you feel, is it the same type or kind of people, or this new generation of Taliban is little different than the other ones? And because since we've been hearing through media that the Afghan Talibans are trying to mediate and to reconcile with the present government, today they have withdrawn from the ceasefire and all those things going on. What impact will, if we go all out against the Pakistani Taliban, how will the Afghan Taliban feel, or will they be okay with this?
So Tanvir, your question is a good one, a thought-provoking one. The Pakistani Taliban of 2008 were a bunch of leaders and a large number of followers. Followers had no input in what is to be done or how it's to be done. They just followed instructions of the leadership. That leadership is largely dead. The new leadership has emerged. I may have seen them during my captivity, or some of them, but I can't recall. I don't know their names, I haven't seen their faces, so I really can't recall. But they are different to those people of 2008 to the extent that they are different people. What is their agenda is determined by who is paying them and how much are they paying them and what tasks are they giving them. Task to task they pay them. They pay them heavily, but they pay them. To my mind, while the Indians were in Afghanistan before August 15, they had a perfect network through the NDS to the Pakistani Taliban. They used to even task them on what targets to choose, and they would do it that way. But now that the Indians are out and they are desperately wanting to get back in to Afghanistan, there is a time lag, and the Taliban are feeling the pressure because they've run out of cash, and that they need cash now. So they want to get back into a position where they can hurt Pakistan. The Afghan Taliban have told them that you will not use Afghan soil to hit any country, which means Pakistan. So if they can't hit us from there, they want to get back home somehow by hook or by crook and open. You see, there is an Indian embassy in Islamabad, and they can establish a channel to get the cash across to them, and they can do it. They can still do it. So it's a food for thought for everyone to understand that if there are these people who are willing and able to do for cash anything they are told to do to hurt or destabilize Pakistan, they will do it. That's how different they are. They are out of cash right now.
Riaz?
Sir, cash has always been a problem for Afghanistan.
Yes.
You have served in Kabul. A
Twice.
Very effective, innings twice. As far as I know, you always, had good access to the top leadership within Afghanistan.
Yes, I did.
Particularly to the former president, Hamid Karzai.
Yes.
And our colleagues used to tell us, share with us, that you used to run back to Islamabad to convey special messages as well.
That's correct.
So you know the pulse of Afghanistan. This is what I wanted to ask. What suggestion would you give to the government, present government, to how to deal with the current regime in Kabul, given your past experience of dealing with the top leadership?
You know, the intractable problems which afflict Afghanistan have no easy solution. So, my suggestion or anybody's suggestion can only fall by the wayside because problems are almost impossible to solve. Afghanistan is a very complex country. It's oil and water, it's black and white, it is dark and light, call it what you may, but the difference is so stark between two opposing forces who constitute the population of Afghanistan that they are unwilling to sit together. They are unwilling to share. They want complete ascendancy. For 20 years, with American and NATO support, one group was ascendant. For 20 years. And they made a westernized, liberal Afghanistan in the cities. Now they have fallen down.
Back to square one.
Back to square one, and the Taliban have come. Now they are being pressured to share the spoils of their gains with the others. So they are not willing. They can't see eye to eye. They do not accept their way of life. Just like the city folk who have just been removed from power do not accept the way of life of the Taliban. This is a historical thing. Previously, until the time of King Zahir Shah, the rural folk used to live in the rural areas and were technically not allowed to come to the cities. So they didn't know what happened in the cities. The city folk didn't want to go to the rural areas because their life was in the city and they were westernized and liberal and modern. After the fall of King Zahir Shah and the communist revolution and the Mujahideen and the war, the Soviet occupation, the whole of Afghanistan was like what happens when a tractor goes into a field to plow it, to take the earth from underneath up and down and mix it. That's what happened to Afghanistan when the Soviets came. And Afghanistan will never be the same old Afghanistan again. The city folk are overwhelmed by the presence of the rural folk in the cities. And the rural folk say, aha, so this is what you guys are up to. This is why you wanted to keep us away. It's like that. They do not accept the free living style of the West that they have pushed on to the freedom-loving Afghans of the cities. They were freedom-loving, but the kind of pressure that they were put under to become completely modern and westernized under the last 20 years of NATO rule, that they are unwilling to give up. And therefore, we are where we are.
Sir, you have served the country very well. You have served in Bosnia, Kabul, and Ankara.
As ambassador.
As ambassador. Yeah. And despite your best performance, I mean, you were not promoted to the highest rank through the process which was in force at that time. And you were forced to approach the Supreme Court of Pakistan by writing a letter to the Chief Justice asking for promotion to the highest grade of the bureaucracy. Why you did that? I know it benefited so many bureaucrats, so many senior officers.
Names come in. I was an ex-army man, and they did not want an ex-army man to go to those heights. In fact, the decision was to block them in 20, not even let them go to 21. Initially, the decision was 19, then it was made internally to let them go up to 20 and then not let them go any further. So, I went to 21, and that rattled them a little. And then I am now right on top of the list for 22. And they didn't know what to do. So, in the promotion board meeting, the Prime Minister was advised that the top two who are due for promotion was me and Khurshid Anwar. He said, they are both Pathans, and we already have too many Pathans in 22, so we can set them aside and go to the next 5. Okay. And that news came in the newspaper. So in order to make the dagger going into our hearts slightly gentle, they said they are approved for promotion but at a later date. It will be actualized at a later date. and the next 5 will be promoted. And they were. So when they were, I said, I have lived my life with discipline and honor. 6 years in the army and 36 years in the foreign service. And I have never dishonored myself and never allowed anyone to dishonor me. And I said, enough is enough. I am not going to be pushed like this. So I wrote a petition to the Chief Justice of Pakistan to take suo motu notice for the injustice, that they are approved for promotion, but promotion will be actualized later. Why? Why? Are you kings? Do you own us? Are we slaves? What is it that gives you this power over my life? So this is what I told my lawyer, who made a wonderful case in the Supreme Court. Didn't charge me a penny, although they charged 2 crore rupees for a case in the Supreme Court. He didn't charge me a penny. He said he will do it for me pro bono. And he did the case. My reply, which was supposed to be presented to the Supreme Court, he drafted. He sent it to me in Turkey by TCS and said, send it back to me the next day after correcting it. And wallahi, I couldn't even put a comma to it. It came and it went back in exactly the same shape. And then he fought the case in the Supreme Court. And in the reply that he made for me, that I was telling the then Prime Minister that you claim that you did not promote X and Y and you promoted A, B, C, D because it is your prerogative and it is your discretion to promote anyone you like and to not promote anyone you like. But you must remember, this is not the Middle Ages, this is the modern times. You are not a monarch or a king. You are just an elected Prime Minister appointed by someone else. You don't have these powers to play with the life of a civil servant who has worked up the ladder with discipline and with merit on his side, and he has reached the top, and he also expects that in his life he will be promoted in his turn. And when his turn came, you set him aside and you promoted somebody else without giving any reason. So that's how he lost the case. And the case was Tariq Azizuddin versus the government of Pakistan. But I did not ask for my promotion. I only said I have been treated unjustly in the promotion board. Justice may please be done. That's all I had said in my petition for suo motu. And that's what the Supreme Court then did. What did they do? They never took my name. They said the promotions that you have done stand undone, reversed. All the extra salaries that they got on account of promotion should be refunded to the state and give a report given to me, and then promotion should be done on merit and in accordance with the law. So they had no choice.
Great. So you set the precedent.
Yeah.
There are so many questions still in our minds, especially in my mind, because I worked with you throughout your tenure. In fact, I came before you to Kabul,
Yes.
and then I left after you.
Yes.
So I'm a witness to your kidnapping episode, and afterwards, and then of course your case, which Riaz has just raised about. And it was really a privilege working with you, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, you have heard Ambassador Tariq Azizuddin. He's a man of few words and a straightforward fellow, an ace diplomat. He worked for the country. He suffered for the country. But I think he was rewarded by the country because He is held in high esteem by his colleagues, whosoever has worked with him. I'm one of the ones, I'm one of those who had the privilege of working with Ambassador Tariq Azizuddin. I hope you will enjoy the episode, and I hope it would also fire some imagination in your minds about the gentleman, the challenges of Pakistan's diplomacy, and the challenges which we face in our with our Western neighbor, Afghanistan. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much for watching.